Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Aranda here, my best life Paraguay. And today, I just want to talk about two topics in particular. One being authenticity, and number two, uh, having the ability to think critically, right? And also surrounding yourself with people who have the same mindset as you and the same goals and determination, right? Um, so, if you guys are new to the channel, I'm Ryan Aranda. I've been here, living here in Paraguay, in Paraguay, for 1 year. I just got moved into this new place here. You'll probably see me doing some videos here, and it's kind of like little side area of my place. Here's my dog here, got my car back here. You probably hear some kids playing across the street in the soccer field, right? So yeah, so I live amongst the people, right? In my community here in San Lorenzo, Paraguay, and yeah, man. So I've been moved in for a couple days now. I mean, I'm still moving in, right? Getting stuff organized, cleaning stuff up, seeing what I need, and all that good stuff, right? It's a process, right? Because it's not like moving in the States, right? You need certain things, and certain things will pop up on you. Like, for example, I have a gas stove, and I was like, oh shit, I actually need to provide the propane tank for the gas stove, right? Something that you don't need to do in America. So, anyways, little things like that, right? Um, but yeah, I like this little area, right? And so my house, I can't move this right now because my thing is broken. But anyways, three sides of my house are areas for the front and the side and the back are all areas that my dog can walk around, right? So it's my dog is kind of in bliss right now, right? Uh, but yeah, so that's I guess the biggest update, personal stuff. And yeah, so I had a very interesting conversation. A good friend of mine recently who lives down here, and we were just talking about the importance of, well, a few things, right? To whatever you do in life, you really need to stay authentic. Otherwise, people will easily uh, like suss you out. I guess I think that's probably the right way to say it. But what I'm trying to say is people will lose respect for you, especially if you're doing something entrepreneurial, right? Which a lot of us are who move abroad, right? In some capacity, whether it's YouTube, something else, providing services, whatever, right? Um, and even for myself, right? Because I've been approached by multiple people now, good friends, but also people who have been in the game for residency services, right? And so me for myself, like I could work with some of the guys who have been doing this for a long time, but the thing is, like, some of these guys are just too much about business, uh and I just don't really vibe with them, right? And I just don't know enough about them, right? That kind of goes into the authenticity. It's not to say that they're not authentic, but at the same time, it's like I'd rather work with somebody who's a little bit more transparent. You know what I mean? And that I see is trying to do something right. So for me, for example, if people want to like team up with me, meaning me like pointing people to their services, whether it be residency, other stuff, renting stuff, etc. I won't go for the biggest names or the biggest people, even though I could arguably make the most money. I'd rather go with the people who I trust and that I see, and then have also reached out to me over the months, who are, I guess, the people that internally I trust the most, right? And I always haven't been the best at that though, like trusting folks, right? Because I try to be pretty open, try to be inviting and stuff, but sometimes people kind of change on you, right? But overall, I have a pretty decent track record of being able to tell who's authentic and whatnot, right? But even if you don't even go that far with all the services and all that and partnering up with people, even just like the consistency of your storytelling, which is a lot of my channel is telling my story from when I was adopted to growing up in the States to coming here to meet my family to coming back and visiting for over a decade and then now living here, right? It's all part of a bigger story. But the thing is like, and I have a really good friend too who's actually good at this too, is when there's inconsistencies in your story, people can fucking tell, right? Especially on YouTube. I mean, YouTube is a fucking uh, it's a catalog. It's a diary that anybody can see, right? So so some guys fall off, right? Or some guys, if they had any principles or morals, they completely lose them because a little bit of fame gets to their head, a little bit of spotlight gets to their head, right? And like for me, for example, I just reached 1,500 subscribers, right? And I know that a lot of big names would say, "Oh, that's nothing," that's and well, in fact, uh, there's a lot of TikTokers, right, who have a ton of following, right? But not all of those are serious followers, right? The thing is with YouTube, and especially the stuff that I'm doing, like of those 1,500, a good 1,000 plus are serious folks, right? Because a lot of people hit me up individually. They tell me that they follow, and I can see it in the numbers as well, uh, consistently. They trust me. And even if I don't know something, I'll just tell you that I don't know something, right? Or if I need to look into something more, uh, you know, so because I do consultations, right? I'll just say one thing about consultations. Uh, this month of July here is going to be the last month I have at my current rate, but then in August I'm going to up my rate just a little bit for consultations, okay? Because I'm getting a lot. So, anyways, uh, yeah, it's important, man. It's important to stay true to yourself, to be able to tell the same story and not be a liar, because you could ruin everything, right? You could ruin your own personal brand, right? Or in my case, my best life Paraguay. Maybe not everybody knows my name. Well, quite a few people do, but uh, you could just start destroying stuff, right? Or you could start letting things like a little bit of fame get to your head, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? And yeah, so I'm very imperfect, and you guys have seen that I'm on camera, right? But I think why some people latch onto my channel is because that the general message never changes, right? And again, if I'm providing new information, like especially if I'm talking about specific topics, oh yeah, I'll latch on to new information and facts and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about in general, right? Same message, same story, same principles and morals that I've tried to carry, right, through the years and through this channel since I started it nearly 2 years ago, right? And so, yeah, some guys just lose that, man. Some guys just lose that, and it's kind of ridiculous, right? Because there's guys who are older than me who act like fools, complete fools, right? And again, I'm not talking about common mistakes, but I'm talking about really acting a fool, right? Okay, it's getting pretty dark here. Sun's going down, so let's reverse the cap for a second. But yeah, guys. So the other part of this is, we were really touching on, and we think this is kind of a generational thing, even though I hate to make it one, with a lot of Gen Z and younger, right? And that unfortunately, a lot of them, they didn't have healthy childhoods. Like I say that us millennials were the last ones. Like you can hear, well, actually you probably can't hear, but there's kids like playing soccer, like right in front of my place. Right, there's a soccer field right in front. I love it personally, um, because it reminds me of my childhood, right? And that's actually how I came up with this topic because these kids were playing, right? But yeah, it reminds me of my childhood. When we would just go to the park, play baseball, soccer, football. Well, not too much soccer, football, uh, anything under the sun. You know what I mean? Basketball at the park. You know, and the younger generations are losing that. People tell me all the time when they're coming from America, every state, that their parks are empty, right? And it's really sad because America has beautiful, nice parks in all up in the cities and suburbia, right? But I guess in some big cities, some of the parks, at least in the last 5, 10 years, have been overtaken by like crackheads and stuff. So I don't fault parents for not having their kids play at those parks. But there are a lot of parks like in suburbia America, right? That are just not utilized, and there's that goes to like lack of community, right? Well, in here in Paraguay, for example, like these kids, they're getting daily interaction with other kids, and then actually this last Friday, right, then the older adults started getting off work, the men, right, and then they started playing their soccer games and they mixed it in, and then even the fucking neighborhood dog just came in and started playing soccer, and they just let the neighborhood dog play soccer, and then they just started drinking beers and shooting goals and stuff. And I'm like, dude, like that's the old school community like that America used to have. And why does that go into why does that go why do I harp why do I tie that into critical thinking and healthy social interaction? It's because all these things are hand in hand. You know what I mean? Go hand in hand. So when you don't have experiences like healthy interaction when you're a kid and in your teens, in high school and beyond, you're going to be awkward, right? And if you're awkward, you socially isolate more because you don't feel comfortable around other people. And then if you do that, your mind as a young person is not fully developed, right? So then you start looking at degenerate shit, whether it's or not, maybe not full on degenerate, but if you do it too much, like video games, pornography, even just stupid TikTok scrolling, right? True brain rot stuff, or just latching way too hard on American culture and celebrities, and they're things that uh, they don't actually help you in the long run, right? Uh, because they're quick dopamine hits, right? So these kids in America, unfortunately, far too many. I would say the majority nowadays. Um, they don't have these healthy social interactions, and they don't, uh, they don't have good social circles, which plays directly into what they do in their free time, which then directly impairs their ability to think critically, make good decisions, follow serious content, follow serious channels, right? I wish more younger folks would follow my channel, to be completely honest. Now, I love that people my age follow my channel, and I know that people my age have more of the ability to move abroad, to do things like that, to have had years of work experience and life experience under your belt by the time that you would do a move abroad for a few months, maybe a year, maybe a couple of years, etc., maybe for the rest of your life, etc., right? And even me, right? I know that, I'm not incredibly young, but I'm not incredibly old. I'm 34 years old, right? But I try to take wisdom from older men too, right? Not to say that all older men have the answers. In fact, I learned a lot from older men's mistakes because they straight up admit to me, right? But I guess the point is that you know between I see it I see folks struggling, and I hear this. And I know it's getting really dark here, so you probably can't see me very well, but you know it's sad in America, and just the direct contrast that's right in the background of me. It's just like this takes me back to the '90s and the early 2000s, right? And I see a handful of young Gen Zers and the next generations after that, um, really getting on it. But I unfortunately see the masses not, because they have too many distractions, because they didn't have a healthy upbringing, right? Societally, right? Or even individually on by their parents, etc., or broken households, or single mothers, or all that kind of stuff. So it's a mess, right? And I guess tying in the authenticity part with the thinking critically part, Well, you could have a plan, right? Like a lot of these guys. This is where the crash outs of the millennials and the Gen Xers and that kind of stuff. They'll do their YouTube channels, and then they'll get in their minds, oh my god, I got a little fame, or oh my god, there's so many beautiful women. Let's just start crashing out and being idiots, right? And doing the wrong things and insulting people and insulting the women of other countries and think that that's going to have no consequences for me later, kind of stuff, right? That's a different kind of crash out, but I mean, so there's those guys, right? But you know, uh, it's just, I mean, I don't know. I just I don't. Unfortunately, I wish I would be more positive and say that the younger generations are gonna start moving in mass and doing all this stuff, but I think that only a handful truly are, to be completely honest. Because I would probably see it some of the most, or if they are, they're the most quiet about it. But if you are younger folks, and there's a few. Don't get me wrong, there's a few, but there should be more in my eyes, right? uh, who are looking to move abroad, that kind of thing. They should be a little bit more serious about it, right? And they shouldn't be like the RBRs here, losing their authenticity. Oh, sorry, that was my point earlier. That like don't be like these older guys who, yes, they may have had some sort of game plan, but they effed it up and they just completely lose authenticity. And in one single video, they could contradict themselves 10,000 times over. You know what I mean? So me, I don't even chop up my videos, so that's why like if I lose a thought, I just lose it a thought right in front of you guys, like right now, and then just tie it back in together, right? But what I'm trying to say is that you know, uh, with your game plan, you got to remain true to yourself. Because if you remain true to yourself, people can tell that, and people can see that, and you're more likely to be successful. Because at the end of the day, serious people like serious people, authentic people like authentic people, and smart people like smart people, and intelligent people like intelligent people. Okay, doesn't mean you need to be the best spoken in the world, but you need to have a decent head on your shoulders. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I know it's dark as hell, so you guys probably can't even see me right now. But yeah, I should have turned on these lights. Anyways, you guys, my best life Paraguay. Ryan Aranda, keep hitting me up for consultations, all that good stuff. And I'll see y'all in the next one before the freaking mosquitoes come and eat me up alive out here. But take care of yourselves, you guys. And yeah, just kind of a random video just on a authenticity, critically thinking, the generational divide. What folks need to be doing, and able to possibly enjoy a life outside of the United States of America, because that's one of the only ways that you are going to actually enjoy life as a man. Let's just be honest here. You know what I mean? Okay, I'll shut up before I get myself into any trouble. All right, y'all. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.